Hola, gringas y gringos, and welcome to
Gringos Are Us.
Expats with a Plan.
I'm Mark.
I'm Gina.
This week we're going to discuss the money of Tulum. Coming up next.
Welcome back. Yes, this video is our actual cost of living for the time that we spent in Tulum.
You know, I was shocked.
I was shocked too. I was shocked because I was expecting something quite different than what we ended up with. So let's preface this with the fact that this was a 7-week stay.
Same as Playa Car.
I had to normalize it to make up for what a monthly cost would be. And we fully expected after our stay in Playa Car that this was going to shoot us to the moon. Mm-hmm. And maybe it might have if we had actually done anything. We didn't do anything.
No, but even comparing the apples to apples and oranges to oranges, we were like, huh? Yeah. Wow. So, you know, as usual, our whole goal was to try and stay at the $3,000 a month.
That's my magical wannabe budget limit, $3,000 a month. Yeah.
In the QR, good luck. I mean, it can be done. But
in Quintana Roo.
But in Tulum and in Playa Car, those two spots, you're not going to hit that number.
But we weren't too far off. If it was rent, we would have been close. But $3,000 a month is the magic number that I've been trying to get to for our budgets. Now, also, at the time we stayed in Tulum, it was April 2024, and the exchange rate was approximately 17 pesos to US dollar.
16.7 to 16.9.
Sometimes it was 17.1.
Sometimes it went to 17.1.
Yeah.
But it was ranging just a little under 17 for almost the entire stay. So that's why we used the 17 peso mark, because we had to pick something.
And this is going to be a short video, guys, because honestly, a lot of the slides that I typically have, we have no expenses for.
Yep.
Just straight up going to tell you, we lived there, we slept there, we ate, and we paid utilities. That's pretty much it.
Well, and we hibernated.
We hibernated,
I mean,
we didn't spend a lot of money on things.
We had already done everything in Quintana Roo that we had really wanted to do. And so this was sort of a, let's wait for the music festival, because if it hadn't been for the music festival, we would have already migrated over. So this was just killing time.
If you haven't been following us, the music festival. So Tulum was never on our plan. We were never going to stay in Tulum. We weren't even going to stay in Riviera Maya at all.
No.
And circumstances made it necessary for us to stay in Playa Car because of a bad Airbnb in Campeche.
Yep.
And the reason we were going to be in Tulum was because all of a sudden, one of my favorite bands was reinvigorating resurrecting their music festival. And I had to go. So the music festival is in Puerto Aventuras. And we were like, okay, where can we stay that's reasonably close to Puerto Aventuras, where we can keep all of our stuff at an Airbnb?
And roll in with one suitcase apiece versus...
Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to roll in with a whole carload full of everything we own for a 4-day stay at a music festival.
We still rolled in with way too much stuff, but that's, decorating the balcony.
Decorate the balcony. You got to do the festival things, man. The festival things, right? And then, of course, while I was at the festival, I broke my arm. Now, that's medical expense that is not going to be in this cost of living, because that was an anomaly.
Yes.
People don't expect to break a limb or end up in a hospital ER on a monthly basis. So I'm not including that. That will be its own video.
Yes, it will.
Describing all the encounters we had, our experience, and all the money.
How it happened, how it did, and how much it cost. Yeah. That'll all be its own video.
That's what this is about. It's not going to be included in this cost of living video because it's not a normal medical expense.
Correct.
All right, so we're going to move on. All right, so Airbnb, what did it cost us? Well, by monthly standards, when I normalized it, was 42,549 pesos.
Or $2,481 per month. So
this is where the surprise came
that sort of shocked us. And one of the things is to be transparent about everything is we found a place in Acumel that we really liked. And when we tried to book it, it accepted it. And then all of a sudden we got a response from the host going, the owners are going to be overlapping the time, so it's not going to be available. But I do have this one. It's a little bit more expensive, and it's in Tulum.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it to you at the same rate.
Yeah.
And so.
But that's what it was for a monthly rate. It was $24.81. If you want to see the most accurate rates, I will link again below the Airbnb page. And also up here in the corner, there's a video here about our Airbnb tour, if you'd like to take a look at that. I'm going to move my little GIMP arm over here. You see me navigating. I'm getting through our slides very precariously. So next up on the list, we have, just for you to see an example of the differences, well, an Airbnb for the month in San Luis Potosi, which was one of our least expensive stays, was about $1,400 a month.
Yeah, 49 steps to walk up, and not very large.
No.
You know, I mean, it was a smaller place, but to be fair, it was about the same size as Playa Car.
It was.
I mean,
it was.
You know, I mean, you're looking at these two numbers here: $1,400 for San Luis Potosi, and $3,600, almost $3,700 a month in Playa Car, and the square footage was about the same. The difference being location,
the activities. We didn't do anything. And I think the reason we didn't do anything is because, number one, it was too expensive to do anything in Playa Car, which was our previous stay.
And been there, done that.
And number two, we just assumed that anything we wanted to do in Tulum would be just as expensive. And we were just like,
well, and we had taken other vacations to Riviera Maya and had done a lot of the things that we would have wanted to have done. We were going, been there, done that. And the few things that we hadn't done, we were like, nope.
Well, I mean, I did want to do like a trip to Bacalar and things like that.
Well, we were planning on taking the train.
Yeah, and then the train didn't pan out because it wasn't finished for our stay. We will go back and do that another time. Groceries is actually starting to average out to be about the same most places we go. This case, it was 9,180 pesos, or $540.
Yeah. And you do have the options in Tulum. There is a Soriana, and they just opened a brand new Chedraui that's on the main street. Be aware that they are doing a lot of construction on that road because it is one of the main roads and it needs the help.
Yeah. It's too funneled, I guess you could say. They're expanding it from a 2-lane to a 4-lane road.
Yeah.
And that Chedraui, there is no good time of the day to go there, ever.
Nope.
There's never a good time to go. It is hopping all the time. Very busy.
But they do have the wine dispenser.
They've got the wine dispensary, so you just go on in there and you juice yourself up for the experience because you're gonna need it. Something you need when you're shopping at a place like this when it's busy, a glass of wine.
But that also includes, we did pick up things like when I would start running out of my Coca-Cola, I just walked down to the fresh market because it was 2 blocks away and grab another bottle or two. So, you know, a lot of that was local right there just because it was such a pain to try and drive over there. We tried to minimize the number of times that we actually left the complex.
Right. So sometimes we spent a little more than we probably needed to just because it was walking distance.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to go to that really crazy, wild, busy Chedraui. All right, so then every month we have the same expenses for insurance. We have both Mexican car insurance that's running us around $32 a month. And then we have Nomad SafetyWing insurance, which runs us around $273 a month.
That we never really had used. And then all of a sudden on this particular trip, it was like, thank God. So.
Hello.
Yes.
I mean, we have basically paid for SafetyWing for about 2 years, and we're about to get all that money back.
Yes.
Just saying. So those values never change. That's what they are, and we pay those in US dollars. So that comes out to about 5,185 pesos a month.
Yep.
Then we talk a little bit about Nomad insurance. We always mention it. If you're interested, this is kind of like a catastrophic travel insurance plan that lasts longer than your typical 2 weeks, 3 weeks type thing. It includes all the typical travel insurance things like trip cancellation and lost luggage, but it also includes any kind of medical care anywhere in the world except for your home country.
Correct.
So, if you're interested in SafetyWing, we do have a link down below, and we would appreciate if you use it. It is, so far, liking it. They're processing my claim as we speak, so very good. Next up, we have medical expenses, which I said I wasn't going to mention this because this is that fluke that people don't get a broken arm every month. So this will be its own video. Otherwise, we did not buy anything.
No, we did not go to any of the pharmacias or anything like that. So we really did not spend zero.
No, we didn't even buy aspirin. I mean,
nope.
Nothing. Personal services. Well, this is one thing. One thing, folks. One thing. Okay? And I didn't even put this as a monthly expense because he only made one trip in 7 weeks. He got a haircut. That's with tip, by the way. 700 pesos.
And I still am using that same haircut, because it'll be interesting to see in retrospect when I get one done here in Tuxtla Gutierrez. I got a feeling it's going to be a lot less than the 700 pesos.
I think what it was 600, right?
It was 600 and a 100 peso tip. Yeah.
I'm just
It was flooring.
I'm looking at this going $41 US. Crap, my haircuts cost less than that.
Great clips cost less than that.
You can get 2 haircuts at Great Clips for that.
That is correct.
All right, restaurants. Hey. Again, this was not a monthly expense, but I stuck it in here. We went out one time. And the only reason we went out that one time is because our Airbnb included a free deep clean during our stay, and we needed to be gone for 3 or 4 hours. So we went into Tulum and found a place to eat.
Found a place to park, walked up and down the main drag there, and then we're like, okay, it's time to get us some breakfast. And so we chose Sexy Pizza.
Sexy Pizza. I mean, they tried to lure us in the first time we passed them, as did a few other places. And we walked down and then we came back and we're like, okay, now we're ready.
Yep.
And we had breakfast at Sexy Pizza.
We did. It was.
I'm going to show some videos so you can see what it was we had. And I enjoyed it. It was a nice stay. It was a pleasant atmosphere. They were excited to have us there. And quite frankly, breakfast for 2, $20, probably higher than some places we've eaten in Mexico, but it was worth $20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with that. It was a good meal.
Yes. After that, we have transportation, which, in all honesty, was nothing more than filling a car up with gas.
That's all it was.
I mean, that would be a monthly cost right there for gas.
And that was 4 trips up and down, back to forth to Playa Car, or Playa del Carmen.
Yeah. Then we have utilities. Okay, utilities always included in here is going to be Starlink if we have it connected, in which case we did not because we had very good internet at this Airbnb.
When the electricity was on.
Cell phones. And my cell phones include Telcel, which I pay 200 pesos every 30 days for. And it includes our AT&T, which we pay in US dollars. We have an AT&T plan. And in this case, it also included essentially $100 worth of electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we really, these month stays here in Tulum, all it really was Telcel, AT&T, and the electricity in this case.
That's,
yeah.
All there was.
So what does it never include? Well, it never includes cigars, streaming services, gifts, mail forwarding, subscriptions that we have.
Broken arms.
It's not going to include catastrophic broken arm events.
Just
right? So in total, this is going to include our accommodations, activities, groceries, insurance, medical, personal services, restaurants, transportation, and utilities. And that grand total came to
65,337 pesos.
Which in US dollars is
$3,800.
for a month. Now, that's impressive. That comes down to about $127 a day. And what is interesting about this is that this is definitely lower than we thought it was going to be.
A lot.
After spending what we spent in Merida, in Progreso,
and Playa Car.
And then we got the Playa Car, and that area is very tourism driven, so it was even higher. And we well, Tulum's very tourism driven. It's going to be even higher too.
Yeah, we looking at the numbers, we're blown away by the fact that it came in where it came in.
Yeah, we are. Now, with that comes the inconveniences of being in an area that has virtually no cellular signal.
Correct.
And has a lot of interruptions with the electricity.
Due to the construction.
When it does happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, it happens big. And it happens for hours.
Yeah, we're not talking 5-10 minute outage. You're talking hours.
Hours, like all day or all night. Fortunately, that might be maybe one day a week. Maybe.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you don't have any cellular service out there. You're not really in walking distance of anything unless it's the little boutique shops. If you're going to live in Tulum, you're going to need transportation of some type. Whether you go and get a moped, you have a motorcycle, a golf cart, something.
ATVs.
Something. Because you're going to need it to get to the Chedraui or into Tulum itself. You could walk where we were. You could walk to these little boutique stores, but you're going to pay a lot more in these little boutique stores. You could also take a taxi, and there's plenty of those taxis to be found, but the taxis in Tulum are quite expensive. So definitely recommend, and of course, like I said, cellular signal is just non-existent.
No, I had to stay outside when I called my mom. If I stepped inside the condo unit.
I mean, you could get a strong enough signal to get a call outside.
Yes.
But if you're playing games like I play Pokemon Go, the signal wasn't strong enough to play. You had to be on the internet to do it.
And then dumped phone calls.
The phone calls would drop. I mean, it literally is a hole in cellular service right there. So what would it be if it was rent? Well, that 6,500, 337 pesos suddenly turns into
42,550 pesos.
And that $3,800 USD
drops all the way down to $2,500.
And the $127 a day.
83.
That's incredible, right? It's still so much lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah, if you just said that there was even an outside possibility that number was going to be achieved, I'd have gone, no.
But remember, that's our estimation on what the rent would be.
That's cutting Airbnb down.
Basically in half.
Right.
And then, of course, I left the electricity on there because you would pay electricity.
You have to pay the electricity, yes.
So overall, in comparison, we got San Luis Potosí coming in around $32.14 in total at Airbnb rate.
Yep.
We got Playa Car coming in at $50.58. And then we got Tulum coming in at $3,800. That was a shock. I honestly thought it would be up there with Playa Car, if not higher.
I thought it was going to be higher.
I really did too. I did too.
I did not think it was even going to be an issue that it was going to be less.
No.
Now it's like, whoa, it's a substantial amount less. It was okay.
I mean, that's just impressive in general. So look, I mean, what do I think about Tulum? Okay, so Tulum has got certain groups of people that are there. And if you blend in well, if that's your clique and that's your niche, more power to you. This could be a great place for you to fit in. I mean, where we were not close to the beach, certainly no beach access.
No.
That was going to require transportation of some kind to get there. But I mean, we were literally in the middle of the jungle in a development being turned into condo after condo after condo. There were more incompleted condos than there were completed.
Absolutely.
And there was probably just as many groundbreakings that hadn't even happened yet, properties they hadn't even started. So,
there's a lot of activity in the area that we were basically due east of the city of Tulum. We were between Tulum proper and the beach.
Basically,
so, we were in that jungle area between there, and there's not going to be much jungle much longer at the rate they are building condominium units.
And if you have done some search on YouTube for various videos regarding the cenotes and the environmental issues that Tulum has been undergoing with this rapid growth, what he just said, the jungle is getting cut down, man. It's getting cut down rapidly. And a lot of resorts have popped up in Tulum. It's like, it's the next Playa Car is what it basically is. Mm-hmm. And it's going to grow. And Bacalar is like going to be the next Tulum, if it's not already. And, the biggest issue I hear about, and I've watched videos on, is the water quality in the cenotes, because a lot of the resorts and a lot of the new growth may not be legally tied into the infrastructure for sewage treatment. And some of that sewage is seeping through the ground into the cenotes because they're pulling up mangroves and destroying mangroves, which help filter some of that. And if it's not that, it's just there's so much of it. And some of it is getting down into the cenotes. And the images that have come back on videos, scuba divers and stuff, it's not pretty, guys. It's not pretty at all.
I mean, we took the back way out of Tulum to Valladolid instead of driving back up to Playa del Carmen and then paying 358 pesos for a short drive on the carretera there. We took the back road there, and it's amazing how far we kept driving away from Tulum.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still putting up condos, developments on this road. We were probably 20 to 30 kilometers outside of Tulum proper before it suddenly just became, okay, no more.
Yeah, it was quite a drive. And I recall 10 years ago, the first time I ever stepped into Tulum, and that Tulum is not the Tulum of today. The streets are wider. There's a whole lot more business on the streets than there used to be. I remember a few years back when the two of us took that tour with Miguel, and at night during basically spring break season, it's just packed full of people.
Yeah.
Packed. I mean, it's kind of like the new spring break getaway, but it's more than that. It's kind of like everybody's getaway. It's the EDM DJ party festival getaway. It's all that. It's grown into that kind of environment.
But on the positive side, at no time did we feel unsafe.
No, it's
I mean,
safe.
it was, Tulum has been getting a bad, I don't know if it's a bad reputation, because things have happened in Tulum.
Their per capita murder rate, it was one of the highest when we first started.
I get that.
Because their population was smaller.
Right. But, and they had a few outlying events that occurred, but it was pleasant. We enjoyed it. And so it was safe.
Events that occurred that were predominantly drug related.
True.
There's the key. There's the key. You have these festivals and these big gatherings, and then you get drug activity, and then you get things going south.
Then you also had the two tourists that were caught between the rival cartels that you can't throw them in as the drug part because they were just having dinner. And
that's true.
So that's why I said, due to circumstances, there were some events that occurred. Some people were responsible for their own events. Others just happened to be,
I mean, overall, I think Tulum proper is quite quaint. I liked it. I never once felt that the vendors on the street were overly pushy.
No.
At any moment.
No.
I mean, they were all rather passive, to be fair. We could have walked in and out of any store and they wouldn't have been all up in our face, selling us something.
A lot less aggressive than La Quinta, Fifth Avenue in PDC.
Everybody is less aggressive than La Quinta.
I'm just pointing out that, that's what it was. But,
I know. And I think that in town, the food prices at the restaurants were reasonable. Slightly higher than what I'm used to seeing across Mexico, but reasonable. Now, if you were in the condominium location where we were, not so much. That's where it starts to go up. And they're counting on that because they figure you're not going to want to have to get a cab to go get to Tulum because you don't have transportation and you need it, And
people, they're counting on being lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just exactly what it is.
Lazy and ready to spend their money.
Yes.
But honestly, walking around the condo area, I felt safe. Us walking through the streets of Tulum, it was safe and they weren't pushy at all.
Nope.
It was hot. It was humid. We were there at the beginning of summer, late spring, early summer.
We thought it was hot until we got here.
Until we got here.
Yeah. But Tulum, would it have ever made the list? No, it never made the list to begin with. And this was a stopgap to allow us to go to that festival.
Yeah.
And so
it's not on our list of places we would ever stay. It never was. Like he said, it literally was a place to keep our stuff while we went to a music festival. The area, though, is quite nice, but it's growing. And who knows where it's going to be 10 years from now. It's changed a lot in 10 years. And in another 10 years, it's going to change a lot more.
Well, some of them can tell us all about it.
I know.
10 years from now.
I know, right? But if you are the type of people that the vibe in Tulum is very, I want to say, very Nashville, Asheville,
it's going
artsy.
It's going very younger. It's bohemian.
Boho, yeah.
And it's a younger crowd, and that's what we happened to witness and we saw and we felt. And is it someplace that I picture myself 10 years from now being 75?
No,
because I'd be the cranky old guy going, "Get off my lawn."
It's so funny, but there you go. That is our cost of living. Hope you find that helpful. If you did, please give us a like, thumbs up. We sure appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. We are Gringos Are Us.
Expats with the plan.
Remember,
we're doing it. You can too. Something's up there. More videos. Oh, that's right. More videos
that you might want to watch. Hasta la próxima.
Adios.